Hey guys, hope everybody's doing well. I'm smoking a My Father Garcia and Garcia, the Judge. Very good mid-range cigar if you guys are looking for a good value but quality cigar. I picked this thing up for like 12 bucks. So, wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while, and I have a feeling that it's been on a lot of people's mind, is social media has changed the way that we communicate as a society, and in a lot of ways it's a great thing. It's a great way to market a business, a great way to get your product, your ideas to as many people as you possibly can. That's a great thing. But it's also done a lot of damage. And one of the ways that I think it's done the most damage is that, it makes people feel inadequate because you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. And, I think it's good to be motivated to get better. We can always improve, and sometimes we're improving in life, and then we get to a certain plateau, like we've climbed the mountain, and then we got to get to the next mountain, or else we just self-sabotage our way back down the mountain. So it is good to be reminded of that. It is good, never to be complacent, or else inertia tends to settle in, which is not a good thing. But I also think that we're all on this journey, and we all have our own path to walk, and I think a lot of times the motivation, looking at people's lifestyles can sometimes inspire us, or their philosophies can challenge the way we think and force us to look at ourselves and level up, which is all great things. But then, I think we have to remember, though, that we don't really know these people. You don't really know me. I don't really know you. We don't know Andrew Tate. We don't know Bradley. We don't know Wes Watson. We don't know Grant Cardone. Yes, they're living, these super luxurious, high roller lifestyles, and that's great. That really is. I am not pro poverty. I do think that money is important. I do think that building wealth is important. And I do think a lot of people lie to themselves about, just how important it is. And I agree with a lot of the things that these guys say, but I also just remind yourself, these guys have their own lives. These guys have their own paths. Don't try to copy other people. Their ideas about life you can implement, their thought processes, and especially if they're better than yours, about life, or about business, or about fitness, or women, or just life wisdom. It's very useful, and then they've got, these guys have a lot of good things to say. But if you're a computer programmer, and you like what you do, and you make a decent living, don't think that you're a loser just because you're not making $5 million a year, and you don't have 20 million fucking followers on Instagram. Okay? I think that life is an individual journey. Now, there are certain proven elements to success. I mean, there are certain there are certain parts of the blueprint that I think are set you up with a much higher probability to succeed in whatever it is that you're doing. But, you know, success looks very different to a lot of different people. You know, I don't think that everybody I think that there's a certain level of money that people need to where they've got security and they're able to invest and they're able to get into passive income, but they don't necessarily need to be driving a Rolls Royce and, you know, living in a, you know, $10,000 a month penthouse in downtown Miami. There's nothing wrong with driving a Rolls Royce. I think it's great. I think that, you know, you should max out your potential in all areas of life. But I think that, you know, if your life doesn't look like these other guys' life, if you're not rolling around in a Ferrari, and that doesn't mean you're a failure. It really doesn't. You know, some people making money and being a baller, and it's just not what they're into. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, the only person that you have to look in the mirror and be satisfied with is yourself. All right. And I understand that, you know, we're addicted to these phones. We look at them all fucking day. You know, we check our Instagram, we check our Facebook like thousands of times a day, and we're bombarded, we're inundated with just massive amounts of people who are, you know, purporting these philosophies and these lifestyles and these and it's almost like everyone's got a program. Wes Watson's got a program. Grant Cardone's got a program. You know, Andrew Tate's got a program. Like, they all, like, Rich Cooper has a community. Everybody has, like, these programs, these communities, but they're all based on how these people look at the world. And I think that all these guys I've just mentioned have a lot of really good things to say. They have a lot of really great content, and you can learn a lot from them. But you don't have to be a replica of them. Okay. But there are general things that they say that are true, that are applicable. You know, yes, like you should be fit. Okay? You should not be fat. You should go to the gym and work out. You should, you know, not be broke. Okay. You know, if your biggest financial decision is, do I pay for the electric bill or do I, you know, pay my car note? Yeah, that's obviously not a place you want to be in, but you know, you also don't need a fucking $400,000 Rolls Royce either. You know, so I mean, yes, you should be doing interesting things in your life. You should know how to fight. You should, you know, increase your level of skills, your level of knowledge. Like, you should be reading. You should be like, you should have interesting friends. You should be hanging around with like a, you know, good group of men that, you know, are chasing excellence or you know, really truly, you know, are doing all the things I just mentioned, right? You know, all those things that these guys say are really true. Like, you should understand women. I mean, the general philosophy that that, you know, especially the Rich Cooper, Andrew Tate, these guys talk about, I think is pretty sound. And I agree with it. I think it's really useful. But you don't need to be Andrew Tate. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be your best version of yourself. You know, so if you're not a 4-time world kickboxer and driving Lambos, like, that doesn't mean that you're a fucking loser. Right? So I think life is about doing what you want to do. Like I have a rule for myself, okay? I'm going to share this with you. The rule for myself is that every year I want to have more money in my bank account than I did the last year. I want to increase or improve upon my credibility and my reputation in my business, okay? Further establishing myself. I want to read as many books as I can. I want to be fit, you know, and I've got those things down pretty well. But more than just like the maintenance, I call those like the maintenance things, right? Like maintaining the business, maintaining your fitness, maintaining reading books, like knowledge. But maintaining your bank account, right? Those are like maintenance things. Like once you have those habits in place, you know, you're going to the gym regularly, you're reading, you know, a book or two a month.
It's 1 o'clock.
You're making money consistently, right? And you're putting it in crypto, you're putting it in whatever, an IRA, you're putting it in maybe real estate, or you're buying assets, whatever. Even something that's a store of value, like those are all maintenance. But in addition to maintenance, there's three things that I like to do, and those are travel somewhere that I've never been, because the more I think you see the world, the bigger the more you expand your perspective of life, right? Like we tend to get pretty monotonous because we pretty much do the same thing every day, right? I mean, the music you listen to, the podcasts, the people you talk to, the places you go, don't really change that much from day to day, right? The roads you drive on, the things that you see are become kind of monotonous, right? So you want to travel, you want to go to places you've never been to, you know, expand your worldview. In addition to that, the second thing that I like to do is do something very difficult to really test myself, to really test your mettle. All right, this is important, and I'm going to make a separate video about these three things, and I'm going to give an example of what I do. And the third thing is to try to learn a new skill, right? Or build upon a skill that you already have to take it to the next level. Whether that's like, you know, continuing education, or maybe it's a brand new skill that you want to pick up coding or something like that, or learn how to play a musical instrument, something like that. So those are the three things, right? Travel, do something to challenge yourself, do something that's really difficult, and then learn or improve upon an already achieved skill. And my next video is going to be about those three things, why I think they're important, and I'm going to give you an example this year of what I've done to do that. All right, guys, have a good one.